So here's some big news that undoubtedly will not be treated as big news. This is in The Intercept from our buddy Ken Klippenstein. Pentagon fails sixth audit in a row, claiming, quote, progress sort of beneath the surface. So, I mean, just stop and think about this, right? Failed 6 audits in a row. Now, what's the line we always hear from politicians and the media when it comes to any sort of program to help you, to help regular people? How are you going to pay for it? 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 That's what you hear. You hear that. And they do it exactly like I just did it. They sound like a dying bird. But they say that. But here it comes to the Pentagon, right, which we throw colossal amounts of money at all the time. All the time. They fail 6 audits in a row, and it's crickets. I don't hear anything. I haven't seen hair on fire segments on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or the nightly news talking about the Pentagon failed 6 audits. Where's the money going? Where is the money? Where is the money? You're not going to see it. Social Security, can't afford it, cut it. Medicare, can't afford it, cut it. Medicaid, can't afford it, cut it. The WIC program, which is like baby formula for babies from poor families, can't afford it, cut it. Head Start, can't afford it, cut it. Meals on Wheels, can't afford it, cut it. But when it comes to the military, throw as much money as humanly possible at it, and I don't even care where it goes. I don't even care where it goes, which, by the way, sort of gives away the game, doesn't it? Because it shows you that what a lot of this money is for is just paying off the defense contractors who gave a lot of campaign contributions to various politicians, paying back Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. This is what the campaign contributions are for, is for this like just tsunami of cash that's showered on the defense contractors. And then if they happen to basically steal colossal amounts of money, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? So they fail the 6th audit in a row. And by the way, is anything going to happen as a result of this? Is Biden going to call a press conference and say, look, hey, they can't even account for billions and billions of dollars, so what do you want me to do? I'm going to have to cut the budget by like 20% because they're being unreasonable. Go find the money that we gave you. Like, what are you talking about? The money that we gave you, which was allocated for certain things, and now it's totally gone. How about you go find that before you come back to us asking for a penny? We all know that's not going to happen. Okay. So they say the Defense Department passed the same paltry number of sub-audits as it did last year and would not say if it would ever see a clean audit. The U.S. military appears unfazed in its inability to account for billions of dollars. On Thursday, the Department of Defense failed its 6th consecutive audit, but hailed its incremental progress as the Pentagon budget nears a watershed $1 trillion, the largest of any federal government agency. It has never passed a single one of the annual audits mandated by Congress. In a press briefing, the Department of Defense said it had no timeline for passing an audit. Quote, "We've heard the same platitudes about audit progress for years," said Julia Gledhill, an analyst at the Project on Government Oversight Center for Defense Information. "They're meaningless, especially since the Pentagon can't even commit to a timeline for achieving a clean audit." Former Pentagon Comptroller Thomas Harker, now the Secretary of the Navy, had publicly set a deadline of 2027 for a clean audit, but officials have since distanced the military from that time frame. Former Comptroller Harker signaled 2027 back in 2020, but the department has completely rolled that back. There's no incentive to improve. Beginning in 2017, the audits are conducted by the Pentagon Inspector General along with independent public accounting firms. The Defense Department is auditing $3.8 trillion in assets and $4 trillion in liabilities. The Defense Department insists that the latest failure shows growth, a claim for which there does not appear to be any evidence. The Pentagon failed as many of its sub-audits this year as it did last year. Quote, "We keep getting better at it," Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh said of the audit failure during a press briefing Thursday. "I'll just say we remain a trusted institution." That's more because of PR than it is because of reality. Pentagon Comptroller Michael J. McCord said during a separate press briefing about the audit, "We've made a lot of progress to date." So look, I just want to put this in perspective for you, how bad it is. So they mentioned they failed as many sub-audits as they did last year. So the last time they had the audit, their 5th audit that they failed. So what about the specifics of that? Well, this is in responsible statecraft, and I just want to get to the most important number for you. So listen to this. This is in November 2022. Last week, the Department of Defense revealed that it had failed its 5th consecutive audit. Quote, "I would not say that we flunked," said DoD Comptroller Mike McCord, although his office did note that the Pentagon only managed to account for 39% of its $3.5 trillion in assets. So in other words, 61% of the money is totally unaccounted for. Totally unaccounted for, which, by the way, means over $1.5 trillion is unaccounted for. This should be the biggest national scandal that there is. We're basically being robbed in real time by the military-industrial complex, and we're reminded every year with one of these audits that we're being robbed, and then everybody shrugs and just continues forward. And again, at the same time, you hear, well, we have to cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid because we have to balance the budget and fix our books. But for this, absolute crickets. In fact, it is perfectly bipartisan to increase the military budget every single year. This, I mean, look, I don't know how else to say it. This is imperial decline. This is late-stage capitalist hellscape. That's what we're looking at. Where money that actually goes to help people, you gotta pinch every penny. But for the military-industrial complex, it's endless, even though they can't account for 61% of the money. And then you get the comments like from Janet Yellen the other day, and you know the executive branch says this all the time, that can we afford 2 wars? Can we afford to fund Israel and fund Ukraine? Of course. Of course. Not a question. But God forbid you mention we should do universal health care or free college, or a paid maternity leave program, or a paid vacation time program. Nope. Can't afford it. How dare you ask? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You wonder why people, like, despise Congress? Well, this is why. They, you know, you've seen the polls. They have, sometimes their approval rating goes down as low as like 9%. On a good day, it's like 24%. This is why. This is because people feel like, it's a gut intuitive feeling that these institutions are not working for us. And when you get a story like this, the specifics indeed prove the institutions are not working for us. It's like our welfare in this country is warfare. So all this splurge socialism all day long for Raytheon, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, for the Pentagon, and everybody else struggling over crumbs. So 6th audit in a row failed, and it's not, nobody cares. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's doing anything. The media is not screaming about it. The politicians don't have to answer for it. The Pentagon doesn't have to answer for it. They put a pod to the, oh, hey, we have pretty good, we're a pretty trusted institution. Yeah, that's a problem, because your PR overrides reality, and the media is not doing their job holding you accountable, and they're going to get away with it. Just like with Iraq reconstruction, just like with Afghanistan reconstruction, shoddy work, massively overpaid, ran out the back door with a tremendous amount of the money, basically just looting the treasury. That's what we're looking at. Looting the treasury in a country where people are struggling desperately. There's not much else to say about this other than it's criminal. And in a world that made sense, a lot of people who are involved in this would be behind bars. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.